Global jitters continue to weigh on the street with the Nifty below 23,200 mark with broader indices moving in tandem. Pharma continues to outperform other sectoral indices while banks and energy lend support. IT is once again the biggest loser.
IT stocks come under pressure after investors look past the strong earnings from Oracle and focused on its aggressive spending plans, sparking concerns around cash flows, dilution, and the sustainability of AI-driven infrastructure spending.
Shares of Wipro remain in focus as investors assess the likely acceptance ratio for its record 15,000 crore buyback, while the buyback underscores Wipro's strong cash generation and offers a premium to market prices. Expectations of a very high acceptance ratio have moderated.
Shares of Finasa Consumer gained after management laid out the ambitious FY31 roadmap with plans to scale its flagship brands, build new 500 crore plus brands, and leverage AI-led innovation and distribution expansion to drive growth.
Shares of PFC and REC came under pressure despite a key regulatory milestone with the proposed merger receiving presidential approval. Investors are now awaiting details on the share swap ratio and merger timeline.
And shares of Lenskart remain largely unchanged after a large block deal in which about 2.3% equity changed hand. Nearly 4 crore shares were traded in transaction worth close to 2,000 crores, with reports indicating that an ADIA-backed investor was likely the seller.
Microfinance stocks were in focus after the government extended the credit guarantee scheme and significantly raised lending limits for larger NBFC MFIs. The move is aimed at improving credit flow to the sector.
And textile stocks in focus after the government approved 22 new companies under the third round of the PLI scheme, taking total committed investment to over 12,000 crores. The scheme is aimed at strengthening India's position in high-value textile segments.
Shares of DOMS gained after the company acquired key assets of the Reynolds writing instrument business for $3.7 million. The acquisition is expected to strengthen DOMS' position in the writing instrument segment and expand its reach across school and office stationery categories.
Hello and good morning. You're tuning in to Buy Now Sell Now. I'm Ankita Saxena and with me is Kavita Thaplayal. In the next 1 hour, we'll take all your stock-specific questions and get them answered by our fundamental guest and our technical expert. The number is flashing, it's going to flash on the screen for you guys, and of course, we'll also have the QR code that you can scan, send in your questions, the buying price of the stock, and the holding period, and we'll get them answered by our experts. But before we get going with the show, we'll first take stock of how the market is shaping up at this juncture. Well, we have managed to recover from the day's lowest point of the day. You know, at one point, when we started out, we were hovering at around 23,000, and there was a fear that we might even breach 23,000 levels. But we have managed to recover 77 odd points. 23,150 levels is what we have managed to cross, and we are holding on to those levels. But nonetheless, we're trading down 40 odd points on the Nifty. Nifty Bank has also posted a good recovery. In fact, we have recovered good solid 300 odd points from the day's lows. We are trading with gains of 60 odd points on a Nifty Bank. And if you look at the broader end of the market, we have mid and small caps that are underperforming today. Mid cap is trading down 0.5%, and small caps are also trading down with cuts of 0.2%. Besides that, we have the sectoral indices where we have Nifty IT that is seeing the sharpest fall of almost 2% in trade. We have the PSU banking names and the FMCG in that pecking order that's seeing a knock. The only green spot today is the Nifty Pharma that's seeing 0.7% gain coming in. Nifty Media and Metal also marginally in the green. And of course, we have pharma names that are doing very well like Wockhardt Pharma, Gland Pharma, we have Torrent that are doing very well, upwards of 2.5+% gains coming in on Nifty Pharma of these counters. But let's talk about some of the few buzzers also. We have Wipro that is in focus on the back of its buyback, the buyback of 15,000 crores. So it is in focus because, of course, the investors are watching out for the likely acceptance ratio for its buyback. We also have Honasa Consumer, which has given very strong guidance. They have laid out an ambitious FY31 roadmap, and in the back of that, Honasa is also up in a way. PFC and REC, of course, on the back of the presidential nod on their merger, is also in focus. So these are a couple of names that are in focus in today's trading session. But let's get on board Sajid, who's joining us with the FNO 360 that's powered by 5 Paisa. Sajid, take us through what the FNO universe looks like.
Gita, for that, the Nifty is hovering below the 23,200 mark. Some bit of correction which is coming in at this point in time. There you have the open interest which is building up at 1.15% there, with the premium at 20 points to the spot. The Nifty Bank is also positive, nearly a fifth of a percent higher today, with open interest. Some long positions getting built up in Nifty Bank, 2.33% jump in open interest. The constituents, we have seen some open interest longs getting added in ICICI Bank, Axis, Kotak Bank, and Indus Bank, and some addition happening in AU Small Finance Bank. But is the HDFC Bank which is under pressure today? There's a short build-up happening there, and on SBI where we are seeing some short build-up, followed by Bank of Baroda and BNB Bank there. Look at what's happening in the call and put writing. You have 23,100, which is the most active, with put writers at 23,100 levels at this point in time. The call writing is happening. Is also happening at other levels like 23,100 and 23,200. But if you look at the distribution, it's the 23,100 which is holding up the market at this point in time. There is aggressive call writing at 23,200, which is preventing the market to move above that level at this point in time. But futures gainers include Voda Idea, where the stock is up 4%, 14.5 is where the stock is. Vedanta is looking at adding long positions there, and Torrent Pharma looking at adding long positions in today's trade. Among the losers, you have HPCL, Paytm, and Trend, all seeing some short build-up happening. Among the open interest gainers, you have stocks like Torrent, where we're seeing a long build-up happening. Dixon is seeing some short build-up, and Hindalco is seeing some pressure with short build-up coming in there. Yes Bank, Mazgaon, and Indian Bank are some of the stocks where we're seeing long unwinding and short covering, and there are some of the open interest losers there. Most active 1300 June call for ICICI Bank, the unwinding of 5.74 lakh contracts, 1300 level holding up as of now for ICICI Bank there, but the call writing is aggressively on 1300 call. TCS 2100 June put is also active. The premium up nearly 65 paisa to 37.05. Open interest up nearly 1.32 lakh contracts, and the stock holding about the 2400 level. So market holding off in a narrow band between 23,100 and 23,200. And there is a pushback for the market every time it's inching towards the 23,200, with a lot of call writing happening at that level.
Right, Sajid, thank you so much for that FNO 360 snapshot. But then let's move on and let's get connected with our experts on the show. Sharmila Joshi and Forum Chheda are both connected with us to answer all your stock-specific questions. Hi, morning, both of you. And before I ask your market take in the trade so far, let's get connected with a live viewer. Mr. Partha Bhattacharya is there on the phone line with us. Mr. Partha, hi, good morning. How are you doing, sir?
Good morning. Fine. Thank
You're
you.
calling from
Durgapur, West Bengal.
West Bengal. All right. How can we help you today?
I just wanted to know about the views about certain stocks which I had purchased. CSP, CDSL, and BHEL.
CSC, CDSL, okay, and BHEL. You've already bought these?
I'm already purchased them.
Can you give me the buy price?
For BHEL, it is 385.
Okay.
CSC? Then for CSC, it is 175.
175. And CDSL?
CDSL, 1200.
Okay. And the outlook is medium term?
Medium term, yeah.
Okay. So we'll just get you an advice from our experts. Shamil, I'll come to you. So three stocks, CSL, CDSL, and BHEL. And before that, maybe, Shamila, you want to talk about the market trajectory so far?
Well, let's to talk about the trajectory. It is unfortunate that we are now at a sort of what should we say? I mean, things have come to an impasse because we hear that there is going to be some situation where the involved nations will indicate that they've come to a treaty, and then we hear something in the news. So we are in that sort of limbo state where we are waiting for some resolution on the situation. At the same time, we have seen concentrated efforts from the government in getting back FI flows, which is the obvious positive. And in the middle of all this, we are dealing with an earnings season. So stocks are reacting as per what you think they will do in the coming 2 quarters. And we are waiting for a monsoon. So, we are in that state of flux. So I don't think that there is a trajectory for the market. We are sort of really treading water and taking each day as it comes. Coming to the investors, three stocks, I think all three stocks are good from a longer term perspective. Especially BHEL and CDSL out of the list, I do like quite a bit. BHEL has a significant order book, and the company has sort of gone through a transition, and now we are seeing the effects of that on their numbers. So I think that's a stock that you should definitely hold on to if you have the patience. Also CDSL, because I think any stock which has a capital market theme, to my mind, is a good space to be in. So CDSL definitely stay invested. The third stock is CESC, is that right?
CESC and 175, yeah.
So, again, this belongs to a sector which I'm positive on. So probably not my favorite stock within the space, but I would continue to hold it.
Okay, all right. So that's the view coming in on those stocks. Let's move on to a WhatsApp query that's coming in from Arun Chakraborty. He's writing in from Kolkata. He says he has IOC and Castrol, and he's bought it at 170 and 239 respectively. His time horizon is 6 months to 1 year. The question is that what should be his strategy? I'll come to your forum for this one since he is betting on it for a shorter period of time. IOC and Castrol, what are the levels to track here?
Well, hi, good morning, and thank you for having me on the show. To begin with Indian Oil first, that the stock price is morely into I would say a wide consolidation where the stock price is trying to respect those levels of 130, and we do see a bounce coming back. On the upside, we have a level of around 150, which is acting like a resistance. So it's more like a 20 point of range what we are seeing in the stock price. Currently, the stock price does remain a good hold, but maintaining a strict stop loss below the levels of 129 is essential. And on the upside, he can watch it for levels of 145 to 150 back again. But at this point of time, there's not too much of bullish momentum that we can expect, but more range-bound movement. And the next one is on Castrol. So Castrol also remained into a sideward direction, and it has been respecting and taking support near the levels of around 170, where a 200-day moving average is being respected at this point of time. So according to me, it remains a hold. A strict stop loss is essential at levels of close to 167. And on the upside, there is a very limited upside that I can see towards the levels of 195 to 200, where he can consider switching from the stock because there's not too much of momentum or any kind of volume which is supporting the overall bullishness.
All right, so that's the take coming in on both of these counters. IOC and Castrol. But let's move on. Let's take Bharatwat's question. He's from Coimbatore, and Anant Raj is the stock. Quantity is 320, entry price is 506, and he wants to buy more at this current market price, and he's also looking at holding it for next 2 to 3 years. So, okay, so let's give him a buy price if in case forum that's what you might want to recommend. The current price is 506, and at this rate, you think he should be buying more or maybe just hold on a bit?
I would say that as an investment, it's a good level to consider even adding in at this point. The reason why is that we have seen the stock price after forming a bottom at around 403, that was probably in the month of April. We have seen the stock price gradually forming more of higher tops and higher bottoms. Because like 403, then there was a bottom of 447, then around closer to 464. So it's gradually showing that there has been a trend change. So current levels become good to buy as an investment because it's also coinciding with a 100 and a 50-day moving average. So if he's looking at accumulating more for long term, he can go ahead with it.
Come to you, Sharmila, 2 to 3 years time frame. What is your take?
I would also recommend a hold and adding further as per the technical levels, because overall this is the sector that I like, and I do think that the kind of the further growth that we will see in real estate as a sector will come from tier 2, tier 3 sort of towns, and that's where Anandraj is sort of located, where their projects are located. So I think it's a good bet to be in. Valuations are also reasonable. So definitely hold on to what you have. And if you want to add further, I think you can go ahead.
All right, let's move on to the next question that's coming in from Gautam Mahuri, who's writing in from USA. He says he has Eternal and the entry price is 290 rupees. He has 2,000 shares. He wants to know, he's been sitting at a loss. Should I hold or sell Eternal? I want both fundamental and technical perspective for the next 18 to 12 months. Okay. First, I'll come to you, Sharmila, for Eternal's fundamental view. 290 is where he's bought it at. Now, we've seen some very big moves on Eternal, whether it was, touching the 350 levels, then coming down to 220 levels, and then starting to move up. How does it look on the fundamentals for the next 12 to 18 months? Because that's his time horizon, and then we'll come and take a tech check as well.
Overall, I'm very positive on the online space. Anything that involves buying online, I think that there is a great growth and scope for such companies. Eternal, I think if you see their numbers, it's more the Blinkit model that I sort of would like to bet on. Of course, I think Zomato will play out and it's delivering fairly decent numbers. But Blinkit, because I think that what we're seeing is a shift of the company sort of getting into just more than the tier 2, tier 3 towns, even the smaller towns, and even in the space that they are in. For instance, if they are in Mumbai, they will look to sort of deepen their service offerings and stores within that area, so that they become the preferred sort of the option for that quick delivery. So that business has shown great growth, and I do think that in the Indian context, that this is a business that has room to grow. So definitely, I think for me, Eternal warrants a hold.
All right, it's a hold on Eternal. But coming to you, Forum, let's talk about the levels or levels for the next, say, 12 months. Where do you see Eternal? It is sitting at 234 right now. Do you see it scale back to 300 levels by the end of this year?
Well, it's a little less likely to comment on moving back towards the 300 levels, but I agree with Sharmila ji that it can remain a hold. And the stock price has a good support level between 200 to 210. It's a support zone. So according to me, it can be considered as a good hold. Meanwhile, it is facing a lot of difficulty to cross the levels of around 260 to nearly 265. Once we see those levels crossing, then we may see some upside momentum, which brings in a room for 300 levels as a potential target. But at this point, the stock price does remain into a sideward direction. Actually, as we see, most of the stocks have been doing that along with the Nifty index. So I would suggest hold it, but maintaining a stop loss, or it would be an exit only if it reaches the levels of 210. Otherwise, continue to hold on to it.
Important support at 200, 210, and then upper side resistance is almost 260, 265. But let's move on. We have a viewer on the phone line. This is Mr. Reddy from Bangalore. Hi, good morning, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks for connecting.
Thank you so much for sending us your question. You can ask away. Our experts can hear you.
Yeah, thanks for connecting. My question is what should be the buying price for 1 to 3 years of investment for below 4 stocks? One is Vikram Solar, Vari Energies, Suzlon, and Titan. These 4 stocks I want for 1 to 3 years of investment. Fresh buying price I need.
Okay, so I'll just repeat the counters. You said Vari Energies, Vikram Solar, Suzlon, BLS, E-Clerks also.
BLS E-Clerk I don't need. I want
you
for
don't need. Sure.
Titan. Yeah.
Okay. Any specific reason why you selected all of these? Vari Energies, Vikram Solar, Suzlon?
Yeah, just I'm doing fundamental analysis. These 4 and BLS and E-Clerks also, those 5 stocks.
Okay. So you're liking the fundamentals.
Get to know, fresh entry.
1 to 3 years. All right. Sharmila, well, fundamentally, what's going to be your take? Do you agree a good buy at this current levels for 3 years?
I don't know about the levels, but all 5 stocks rather seem quite reasonable to me. I'm a little this about e-clerks. I'm not very sure about e-clerks, but I think all the other four stocks warrant a hold to me at this point.
Take a take from Forum also. Forum, current market price is good to initiate a buy, or maybe you would recommend a hold. Let's start with Wari Energies.
Okay, if you're starting with Wadi Energies, yes, the stock price is good as current levels to buy. It's in fact at a good level because it's a very safe level. The risk reward ratio is much favorable. I would suggest him to even consider maintaining a stop loss that if the stock price has to break levels of 2,900, then he may have to consider exiting it. But these are good levels since he's looking from an investment perspective. The next one, he's looking for Vikram Solar. Vikram Solar is also in a sideward direction for investments, good levels to buy. But from a risk management perspective, I would recommend a stop loss to be below the levels of 187. E-clerks is little on the weaker side, but currently at support. But again, from a sector perspective, it's little on the trickier side. So I would suggest that even if he's consider investing because he's going through the fundamentals also, he can look at investing a lesser amount compared to the other stocks so that the risk factor is less. And the last one is on
Suzlon and BLS.
Suzlon.
Yeah.
BLS. Okay. So we'll take up Suzlon first. So Suzlon also we've seen a good, I would say a gradual up move has been picked up into the stock. And at these levels, again, he can consider as investment. Now, in this, I would suggest that consider a strategic approach where right now he can consider buying 50% and look at adding in at lower levels of closer to around 48. So that his average price is good and the risk factor also is subsided. And lastly is on BLS International. So there I would suggest to consider avoiding it.
All right, so that's the view on Suzlon Energy, but let's move on to the next WhatsApp question that's coming in from Bhavin. Raju Guru, who's writing in from Ahmedabad, he says he has Natco Pharma, 179 shares, the entry price is 860 rupees. He wants to know what is the future for Natco with regards to the stock price, and he can hold it for the next 3 to 5 years. So Sharmila, I'll come to you. Natco Pharma, and let's talk about the pharma space in general. Do you see pharma to now start picking up, and what would be your view on Natco for the next 3 to 5 years?
It seems reasonable. It's not my favorite stocks within the pharma space. Pharma as a space I'm very positive on. It's a defensive play. Hopefully, some of the stocks have had some certain issues. We will see them getting over that, especially if we're talking of a 3-year horizon. So the sector is a positive to hold for me. Natco Pharma also at this level is a hold. As I said, it's not my probably my favorite stock, but at this price, I think it's a hold.
All right, so that's a hold from Sharmila. And also, it's time for a short break. But before that, our special programming. For 17 years, ET Now has empowered investors and decision makers with the insights needed to navigate India's growth story. Continuing that commitment, we bring you the ET Now Market Summit 2026, a gathering of India's leading economists, fund managers, policymakers, and investment experts, including the likes of Sunil Singhania, Sandeep Tandon, Sandeep Pasikka, Vidam Desai, and Vijay Kedia. They will be coming together to decode the future of Indian markets, a special event where SEBI Chairman Tuhin Kanta Pandey will be the chief guest and share his insights on navigating volatility. So stay tuned to ET Now on 12th June for exclusive insights and powerful conversations from the ET Now Market Summit 2026.
Welcome back. You're tuned into Buy Now, Sell Now, and this is a show where we get all your stock-specific questions answered. The number is flashing on top of your screen, so start writing into us. Let's resume with all the questions, and now you're joined on live phone by T.S. Rao, who's calling us from Hyderabad. Hi, Mr. Rao. Good morning, and thank you so much for calling us.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for connecting. I am T.S. Rao from Hyderabad, Telangana. So can I proceed?
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So basically, I have Network Technologies 37307 quantity at 4,096 average price. So my question is whether I should hold or add more or sell at this price, or what should I do for a long time, maybe 12 to 18 months? What is your opinion? Thank you.
12 to 18 months. Okay, Sharmila, I'll come to you. Netweb Tech, he's sitting at a profit already. What is your suggestion? 12 to 18 months, he's willing to hold more. Do you see more upside? Or we'll take a tech check also on the levels. But what's your opinion on Netweb Tech? Should he be holding on to it, or can he book partial profits at this point?
I would recommend to hold. I think that within this space, the kind of potential that there is, as well as the earnings of the stock and the valuations, it seems quite reasonable. So I would recommend to hold.
Okay, so a hold from Sharmila, but I'll come to you, Forum. What are the levels to track for the next, say, 12 months? Where do you see Netweb headed?
Well, actually, Netweb has been relatively outperforming if we compare it to the index as benchmark. So according to me, it's a good hold at this point of time. Yes, the stock price can retrace a little towards 4,000 levels, which also marks like a psychological number. But it's likely to take support, and we can expect the upward trend to continue and resume. So we can expect on the higher side of closer to almost a target price of 4,900 to 5,000 as a first target. And the next target from a long term, we look for around 5 to 25 as a target price.
Okay. All right, so that's the thing. But then let's move on and let's switch to WhatsApp questions. This is Mr. Ravi Shankar Singh from Bihar, and BEL, buy price is 457, and he wants to know a trajectory for almost a month, whether he should be preparing himself for an exit or maybe average at this current rate. Forum.
So now BEL has been trying to take support at good levels at this point of 400 mark. So a very strict stop loss is required to be placed at 396 levels and continue to hold. So we've seen stock price lately getting a little weak, that from 464, it's almost corrected more, almost like 13.5%. So at this point, hold on to it, but maintaining a strict stop loss is very much of essential at this point. And he can expect a rebound, not recommending to add in more to average it, but just hold on to your existing quantity.
Right. All right, Forum, thank you so much for that. But let's move on to the next question. R. Ravi Kumar, who's writing in from Hyderabad. He says that, is this the right time to buy a Park Hotel stock, or can you suggest any other alternative? He wants to invest 50,000. Forum, I'll come to you for the entry levels. Park Hotel, is this the right time to enter? And would you recommend this for the next 6 to 12 months? Or if there is any other name, perhaps in the hospitality within that pack, perhaps an IHCL or Lemon Tree, or any other name that you would recommend for the next 12 months?
Well, I would suggest that instead of going in for Park Hotels, Indian Hotels is much more, I would say, stable compared to Park Hotels at this point in time. So according to me, you should consider Indian Hotels even of buying gradually, even if he doesn't want to go all out to buy, even a small quantity in tranches as an SIB format can be considered if he's looking from the hospitality space. So the stock price has been trading in a range at this point between 620 to nearly 680. In fact, yesterday also the stock price did make an attempt to move towards the 680 levels. So we do see that the strength is picking up. Along with that is the volume. So current levels can be a good buy with a stop loss only below the levels of around 620, and can watch out for an initial upside target of closer to 700. And then we're looking for much higher targets of closer to around 730.
All right, so that's a take coming in and the recommendation in this particular sector from Forum. And Forum, with that, thank you so much for taking your time out and helping our viewers with their stock-specific questions. Sharmila requests you to stay on, but let's move on to a very important set of development. Government has really pushed higher for ethanol blending increase, and in the fresh move, government has now abolished excise duty on petrol blended with higher levels of ethanol. But let's talk more on this. We are joined by Mr. Atul Chaturvedi, Executive Chairman, Sri Renuka Sugars Limited. Hi, morning and welcome to the show, sir. So definitely this is a great push from the government, I think on expected lines, but what would you say? Government has now abolished the excise duty on petrol blended with higher levels of ethanol. How are you reading this move?
Let me clarify the situation. As far as this new notification linked to excise exemption is concerned, it is just an enabling provision. In fact, when ethanol blending of 20% was allowed, the 20% of the ethanol was already exempt. Now the government is now seriously looking at increasing the blend from 20 to 22 or 25 or 30 even. So what they have done is, this is just an enabling provision so that when the new mandates come into play, there is no confusion at the pump level. So this is just an enabling provision, but it is definitely a step in the right direction and reflects the serious intention of the government to take on the challenge of energy security as far as the Indian consumer is concerned, because with Gulf War is not showing any signs of abating. And the earlier we do this, the better it would be for the Indian consumers. Yep.
Mr. Chaturvedi, hi, morning. This is Ankita also joining in. Sir, Hardeep Singh Puri, the Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas, has also said that the E85 will be substantially cheaper than the normal fuel. How would you read into these comments?
I would say we will have to wait and watch how the E85 actually pans out in the country. But flex fuel cars definitely would be the step in the right direction. And what Mr. Puri, actually the Honorable Minister, said was that it's going to be about closer to about 82 rupees versus 100 rupees of petrol. So definitely it is right, but whether it will be sufficient to take care of the reduced mileage, only time will tell. But then we'll have to probably wait. I don't think E85 is going to become a reality overnight, because the petrol bunks will have to be, the dispensing petrol bunks will have to be put in place, and the infrastructure to handle E85 has to be put in place. But it's a step in the right direction, and it shows definitely the intent of the government to reduce its dependence on imported petrol, for sure.
Right, sir. So just to, elaborate more on this, it's the step in the right direction, and realistically, you just named out a few challenges. If you could just elaborate more on that and also help us understand realistically how soon could E85 petrol be now available at petrol pumps then?
My take is that before E85 is available, the manufacturers of flex fuel cars will have to rev up and put the vehicles on the road. My take is it could take anywhere between 3 to 5 years before the real ramping up actually takes place. And as far as the petrol pumps are concerned, with so many variants, 20% blending, 22% blend, 25% blend, or 30% blend, so I think at some stage the government will have to probably seriously look at how to rationalize all this so that the petrol pumps don't have a big challenge in dispensing the fuel. So I think that is something which is works in the process, and that will have to be taken up as a challenge before actually E85 becomes a reality and starts. But it is definitely a step in the right direction, because E85 actually gives a consumer option to either buy a 20% blend or 85% blend, depending on how it works. But there's another thing which is also important, is that for the E85 flex fuel vehicles to make a big inroad, it is important that the GST on that should be brought at par with the EV vehicles, or else why would a consumer pay a higher price for E85? So that I think is something which the government will have to probably seriously look at.
Mr. Chaturvedi, also, how will the large-scale adoption of higher ethanol blending evolve?
No, as far as 20% blending is concerned, I think things have been absolutely on track, and we are blending 20% on an average across the country. But going forward, with El Nino showing, raising its ugly head, we don't know how the cane crop is going to shape up. If the cane crop is lower, then, and the sugar prices are higher, then I don't see any reason why the mills would be more interested in making ethanol if the price of sugarcane juice-based ethanol is not increased to the level of about the maize ethanol. So that is a bit of a challenge, but that we'll have to see how the crop ultimately, as far as the sugar is concerned, shapes out. Yeah.
That really needs to come out good in order to expect support from sugar-based ethanol manufacturers, or is there something else or more than that as support that we can expect?
Well, the sugar ethanol manufacturers have been waiting for, with bated breath, for the prices to be jacked up, because there's no reason why maize ethanol is being sold at 72 rupees or thereabouts, and cane juice ethanol at 65. So at some stage, I think the government will have to probably rationalize all the various ethanol feedstocks, whether it be maize or whether it be cane juice or whether it be from rice. I think it needs a little bit of a thinking so that there's less confusion in the marketplace or at the OMC level. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Chaturvedi, also the capacity of ethanol manufacturers currently, what is the capacity currently for the manufacturers, and how will it scale up going ahead?
Now, as far as the manufacturing capacity is concerned, I think we have adequate capacity available in the country, close to about 20 billion liters. And at 20%, our requirement is roughly about 10 billion liters. If we go up to about, say, 30% blending, then our requirement would actually go up to about 15, 16 billion liters of ethanol. So I don't think we need to create more capacity. But then what is more important is to ensure that the adequate feedstock, whether it be maize or whether it be sugarcane, is adequately available to feed the plants and ensure that 15 billion liters of ethanol is available for blending at the OMC level. Because rice is something which I'm not too sure whether it's going to continue or not. It will largely depend on how things pan out. Once the stock levels with the government come down, I think the incentive to keep pushing rice ethanol may actually come down a bit.
One last question before we let you go. Just wanted to understand the benefit for Sri Renuka Sugars.
So Renuka Sugar is, we have probably one of the biggest capacity as far as ethanol is concerned. So if the price of ethanol sourced from the sugar cane juice is jacked up, it definitely is going to help Renuka Sugars for sure. And then the government's intentions are clear. And going forward, I think it's a better days for Renuka as far as ethanol is concerned, I'm sure. Yep.
All right, sir. That will be all. Thank you so much for joining us and helping us understand all the implementations aspect of this particular news. Thank you so much, Mr. Chaturvedi.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, before we slip into a short break, I would just quickly like to connect with Sharmila and just understand her fundamental take on this particular news, and also if anything for long term can be initiated in any of these sector-specific counters. Sharmila, what's going to be your fundamental take?
Very honestly neutral, because as we heard from the management, this is a step in the right direction, but a lot of things need to fall in place. That's number one. Number two, I think there is the big issue of acceptability, because increasingly we are hearing that the blends are really, resulting in lesser mileage. And how far would you really be willing to pay a lower price if you're going to get a lower mileage? I think that trade-off also needs to happen at some point in time. So very honestly, I think ethanol blending as a strategy sounds very good on paper, and perhaps it will be pocket friendly in times like this. But if things were to revert back, if food prices were to revert back, then I don't know how interested anybody would be really in blends and so on and so forth, putting making the kind of engines available, having the petrol pumps available, etc. So I think it's a step in the right direction, but very honestly, I'm neutral on it from a stock perspective.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Sharmila. But let me introduce Ajit Mishra, also Senior VP Research, Religare Broking Limited, who's now joining us on the technicals. And of course, Sharmila will stay back with us on the fundamentals. But with that, it's time for a quick breather. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back and get your questions answered on the other side. So stay tuned.
AU सेविंग्स अकाउंट में मिलते हैं अमेजिंग बेनिफिट्स, पेपरलेस बैंकिंग एंड हायर इंटरेस्ट, वो भी हर महीने।
मनी 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 एवरी मंथ।
सोच बदलो और बैंक भी।
नवनिर्माण के 9 वर्षों में डबल इंजन की सरकार ने उत्तर प्रदेश वासियों को दी जल, थल और नभ से अभूतपूर्व कनेक्टिविटी। देश के कुल एक्सप्रेसवे नेटवर्क का लगभग 60% उत्तर प्रदेश में है।
रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर का 4 लाख किलोमीटर का रोड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर आज यूपी के पास है। हर इंटर स्टेट, हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट हेडक्वार्टर 4 लेन की कनेक्टिविटी के साथ जुड़ा।
वर्ष 2025 में 1 अरब 56 करोड़ से अधिक पर्यटकों का आगमन, 17 संचालित हवाई अड्डों, जिनमें 5 अंतर्राष्ट्रीय हवाई अड्डों के व्यापक नेटवर्क द्वारा सशक्त हुई उत्तर प्रदेश की कनेक्टिविटी का है प्रमाण। 16,000 किलोमीटर से अधिक का देश का सबसे विशाल रेल नेटवर्क दे रहा है प्रदेश को विकास की नई रफ्तार। उत्तर प्रदेश में डबल इंजन की सरकार कर रही है विश्व स्तरीय कनेक्टिविटी के नए युग का निर्माण।
ये है असली अरेस्ट। डिजिटल अरेस्ट इज 100% फेक। It doesn't exist. Pause. Don't act. ऐसे और भी फ्रॉड्स की जानकारी के लिए विजिलेंटी को फॉलो करें।
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now, and we're answering your stock-specific question. Ajit Mishra and Sharmila Joshi, our guests on the show, are connected with us. And we also have a live viewer on the phone line. This is Mr. Sandeep Anand from Punjab. Hi, good morning. How are you?
Fine, madam. Madam, 20,000 share GTL Infra at ₹2.41 and 600 share GSS Infotech at 64.
Okay, what's the time frame that you're talking about?
I don't hold 2 years.
For 2 years? Okay.
Yes, madam.
All right, Sharmila, do you have it in your coverage?
No, I'm sorry. I don't.
Yeah, I just thought so, yeah. Ajit, would you like to give a take? GTL Infra.
Sorry, Kavita, it's a penny stock and we don't
Right.
track such counters.
All right, let's move on and let's take a WhatsApp question. And this is coming in from our viewer, Madhusudan Rao from Hyderabad. TCS is the question. And okay, bought it at 2950. I think it's a short-term horizon. Ajit wants to know if he can continue holding and can he buy more at the current level or maybe when it goes down to almost 2100.
So Kavita, the IT pack is still not showing any sign of respite. Means a couple of weeks ago, definitely we saw a very strong recovery, but that entire move was fizzled out completely. And in fact, we are staring at a new 52-week low. And still there is no sign of recovery or respite. So I believe that maybe close to around 2000, 2030 area could be the next major support. But since we are not seeing any sign of breather also around the major support area, it's important for let the stock to stabilize and form some decisive sign of reversal before making any meaningful entry for the short-term trades on the long side. So as of now, it's an avoid in case he's holding longs, existing longs. 2030 should be his stop area and use recovery towards 2340, 2350 area to review or reduce his position.
The view coming in on DCA. Let's move on and take another question. And Madhusudan Rao is writing in. He says, okay, we just took that question. We'll move on to the next one. Thomas George is writing in from Cochin. He says that he has Deepak Nitrite. The entry price is 1600. What should he do? He's not given a holding period, but Sharmila, I'll come to you for Deepak Nitrite. 1600 the entry price, say for the next 12 months, what do you see on for Deepak Nitrite? Do you see any upside to this space? He is sitting at a very marginal profit. What should be the strategy?
Well, I would say hold, but I'm not very positive on the stock. But overall, what I've seen is that chemicals as a space has sort of been in a band for quite a bit, and I think now the kind of concerns that were there in the space have gotten addressed. So hopefully, you will see a recovery in earnings in the quarters to come. So I think at this stage it's a hold.
All right. With that, let's take a short break, and post that also we'll continue answering your stock specific question. But before we slip into the break, let's just put up the QR code so that you can scan it and send across your questions.
Welcome back. You're tuned into Buy Now Sell Now, where we get all your stock-specific queries answered. The number is still flashing on top of your screen, so you can write into us. Let's get going and resume with all the questions then. Praveen Kumar is writing in from Karnataka. He says that he has Bharat Coking Coal and the entry price is 40 rupees. What should I do? Should I hold on to it for the next 2 months? It's short-term time horizon. So I'll come to you, Ajit, for this one. Bharat Coking Coal, he's sitting at a small loss and he's entered at 40 rupees. What should be his strategy for the next 2 months is what he's looking at. Should he cut his losses or should he wait and watch?
So Ankita, the stock is now witnessing a bit of a breather after this recent up move from 32 to 42, and but still it's holding above its major averages. So short-term bias is still positive. It might change in case if the stock fails to hold this 35 area decisively. So with that as a stop loss, you can continue to stay put. And once, let's say, the stock stabilizes above 42 mark, then probably the stock may test a new record high. So he can continue to hold with the 35 as the stop loss.
As a stop loss recommended by Ajit. Let's take this question from Abby. He's from Kochi. The stock is Zentech and entry price is 192. But he's been holding for more than 3 years now, and now wants to know that what should be the trajectory ahead. I think it's a short-term view because he wants to understand if there should be an averaging strategy or a complete exit. Ajit, what would you recommend?
So Zentech, finally, Kavita, we are seeing this stock making attempt of reversal. Means off late, after almost 1.5 year of consolidation, it has surpassed the major hurdle around 1600 mark with noticeable surge in the volume and still holding strong amid all this choppiness that we are seeing in the market. So since he had bought it at higher levels, so you can look for fresh addition at current levels, but with strict stop at 1600 mark. And upside 2100, 2200 gradually could be the target area since it's a high beta counter. So maintain the stop losses accordingly.
All right, so that was the last stock question for the day. Ajit and Sharmila, thank you so much for joining us and answering all the questions for us. And well, with that, it's time to wind down on this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. Kavita and I will take your leave. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't go anywhere. Markets at noon is coming up next.